So I just played Star Rail's 3.4 quest, and I have to say, that was incredible. That was easily the best quest that Star Rail has ever released. I didn't expect patch 3.4 and Genshin's patch 5.7 to both be so good. Spoiler warning for the Amphoria section of patch 3.4, because I just have to talk about this quest. So let's talk about Eons and Titans. In the updated version of As I've Written, we learn that each Titan in Chrysos Heir is meant to represent a simulated path. While I've tried my best to match each Chrysos Heir to a path, I'm only confident in about half of them. We have two explicitly confirmed paths, with Cypher's trickery being elation and Anax's reason being erudition. Phynon is meant to represent destruction itself, and Cyrene is meant to represent the remembrance. We can make the reasonable inference that Aglaea's romance is a standard for Adrilla's beauty, since a previous cycle of Iron Tomb simulated a civilization of beauty. If beauty is confirmed to be a path inside the scepter, it stands to reason that Aglaea is closest to it. We also know the path of Terravox, the Earth demigod that we haven't seen in-game yet. According to As I've Written, the path of permanence is revealed to Terravox in a dream. I'm quite surprised they revealed that, considering we know extremely little about the path of permanence and even less about Terravox. Which is why it's quite funny that he's the last simulated path that I'm fully confident in guessing, and the rest of the Chrysos Heir paths are based on my own inferences. Tribby took the first steps to start the Flame Chase journey, as she literally makes passages, just as Akavili laid the silver rail with the Astral Express. According to the Cosmodesy event in Penacony, the Astral Express was a fleet of trains once, just like Tribby was multiple people, but eventually both their numbers decreased to 0. Tribby represents Akavili's path of the Trailblazer. Next up, My Day should probably represent the Hunt path, but my reasoning is a bit complicated. We know that each Flame Chaser represents a unique path because their associated path will inevitably conclude in the destruction. If you're aware of them, this will make you think about the Lord Ravagers, who are associated both with destruction and a path that they want to destroy. These anti-paths are elation, erudition, permanence or veracity, preservation, harmony, the hunt, and nihility. Of those, the elation, erudition, and permanence are already confirmed to represent a specific Flame Chaser. That means it's likely that the 4 remaining Chrysos Heirs represent one of the preservation, harmony, hunt, and nihility. Since Phynon already has dibs on the destruction, the next closest match for My Day is the hunt. While My Day isn't as fond of friendly fire as Lan is, he's the prince of the Kremnoan warriors and pursues the Black Tide. While My Day's path isn't hard to figure out, Cereja's path is much harder since we know next to nothing about her. As the Law Chrysos Heir and the former leader of the Flame Chase, I would expect her to be either Order or Equilibrium. But based on her chess motifs that the Harmony Eon and the Anti-Harmony Lord Ravager share, she should be Harmony. Castoras's path should be Nihility. The 3 paths that suit her the most are Finality, Nihility, and Abundance. And although she values life, since she kills everything she touches, she certainly isn't abundance. We can find a clue in As I've Written, where it states that her decisions are based on the principle of minimal disturbance, which seems to align with the Eon of Nihility. It's likely that Castoras's love of life and inability to grasp it is meant to play upon the themes of nihility and not finality. Since nihility is one of the Lord Ravager's paths, I believe that Castoras is meant to represent it. That brings us to Hyacinth, who I believe is our preservation Flame Chaser. Hyacinth sacrificed herself to protect the people of Akama by sheltering them with the sky's power. Although all evidence suggests that Little Ika is the Aeon of veracity. Even though Hyacinth heals, that doesn't mean she's a path strider of abundance. She used the sky's power to protect the people of Akama, rather than heal them after they got hurt. The last Flame Chaser is Hysolins, who we have few clues for. We can tell that Hysolins doesn't like eating as much as Little Ika because her stomach is transparent and obviously empty. I don't see how she relates to the Enigmata, Propagation, or Equilibrium either. The only option left is finality, which there's a small clue for. In patch 3.2, we learned that the city of Styxia, which worshipped the Ocean Titan, was close in both proximity and in faith to the Death Titan. So perhaps Hysolins represents the finality, which was a good candidate for death. Putting it together, Cypher is elation, Anatsa is erudition, Cyrene is remembrance, Aglaia is beauty, Phainon is destruction, Terravox is permanence, Trivi is trailblaze, Mide is hunt, Castris is nihility, Ceridra is harmony, Hyacinth is preservation, and Hysolins represents the finality. There's just one last piece of lore I have to bring up. When Noose wants an answer to a question, they create a genius to answer it. This fits with how Herta prefers to tell answers to Noose rather than ask questions. No wonder Asat Pramad seemed to imply all Genius Society members would die if Noose was infected by Iron too. Noose arranged for Rupert to command the Scepters to ask questions. The resulting tragedy of the Emperor's War that followed was merely a side effect. But this abandoned scepter realized that the prime mover of the universe is the destruction.